The garage smelled like motor oil, and the kind of cold that doesn't leave even when you close the door. I was organizing the toolbox, something I did when I needed my hands busy, when Carla came through from the kitchen. She didn't knock, never did. It was her place too, or that's what I'd been telling myself for 8 years. Leon, we need to talk about the trip. I didn't look up right away. I was hunting for the 10mm socket that always goes missing. What about it? Got the confirmations last week. Everything's set. That's the thing. She shifted her weight. I could hear it in the floorboards. The kids and I have been talking. We think it would be better if Calvin came instead. I put down the wrench, slow. My hands didn't shake, but something in my chest did. Calvin. Their father, Leon, their real father. Real father. Like I hadn't been there when Marcus needed help moving into his first apartment. Like I hadn't sat through Shanice's graduation. Real father. Calvin, who sent birthday cards twice in 8 years and called when he needed money. I paid for that trip, Carla. I know. And we appreciate it. We really do. But this is about family. I looked at her then, really looked. She wasn't angry, wasn't sad, just explaining, like she was telling me we were out of milk. So I'm not family. Don't be like that. You know what I mean. But I didn't. Or maybe I did, and that was worse. When did you all decide this? Few weeks ago. We were going to tell you sooner, but few weeks. The trip was in 4 days. I'd requested time off 3 months back. Booked the hotels in my name because Carla's credit wasn't good enough. My name, my money, my vacation days. Not my family, apparently. Leon, don't make this harder than it needs to be. I went back to the toolbox. Found the 10mm right where it shouldn't have been. Okay. Okay? Yeah, you go. Have a good trip. She waited. I think she wanted me to fight, to yell, to give her something she could point to later. I gave her silence instead. After she left, I sat on that cold concrete floor for maybe 20 minutes. It was hard against my tailbone. My knee hurt where I'd hyperextended it last winter shoveling her driveway. I thought about all the things I'd fixed in this house that wasn't mine. The furnace, the leaky toilet, the porch steps that were rotting through. I thought about real fathers. I couldn't sleep that night. Carla could. I heard her breathing steady in the bedroom while I sat at the kitchen table with a pen and paper. Old school maybe, but I needed to write it down, needed to see it. The first item was easy, joint checking account. Opened it in 2016 when she said it would make things simpler. Simpler for who, I didn't ask. I was the only one making deposits. Credit cards came next. She was an authorized user on mine. I was nothing on hers. She didn't have any that weren't maxed out. Cell phone family plan. My name, my credit check, 4 lines. Mine, hers, Marcus's, Shanice's, car insurance on her Camry. She'd asked me to add it to my policy 2 years back. Temporary, she'd said. Just until she got her license situation sorted. I kept writing. Netflix, Hulu, Spotify family plan. The gym membership she hadn't used in 6 months. Topo A. The apartment lease, sole leaseholder, my name only. The internet bill, the electric, gas, water. The coffee had gone cold by the time I finished. 3 pages, front and back. 8 years of autopay. And just this once, and I'll get you back next month. I looked at the total at the bottom. Didn't write it down, didn't need to. I felt it every month when the paycheck hit and the bills came out, and what was left wasn't enough for the life I thought I was building. Morning came gray through the kitchen window. Cleveland in April is all mud and leftover snow and false promises about spring. I heard Carla's alarm go off, then the shower running. Normal sounds, like nothing had changed. But everything had. I folded the list and put it in my shirt pocket. Drank the cold coffee, because wasting it seemed wrong. By the time she came out, hair wet, makeup on, wearing the coat I'd bought her last Christmas, I was already putting my boots on. You going somewhere? Bank, I said. Got some things to handle. You okay? You look tired. I tied the second boot. Didn't sleep much. Leon, about yesterday. I know it was sudden, but it's fine, Carla. You said what you needed to say. The kids really do appreciate everything you've done. You know that, right? I stood up, looked at her, wondered when I'd stopped being Leon and started being everything you've done. I'm sure they do, I said and left. The bank on Cedar Avenue has chairs that squeak when you sit down. Everyone in Cleveland knows which branches have the squeaky chairs. This one always did. 10:15 on a Tuesday morning, I sat down across from Melissa, the branch manager who'd helped us open the joint account back when I still believed in us. Mr. Bryant, good to see you. What can I help you with today? I pulled out the list, unfolded it, smoothed it flat on her desk. I need to close some accounts, cancel some services. She glanced at the paper, then back at me. Which ones? All of them. Her smile flickered. Professional training kicked in. All of the joint accounts? Everything in my name. Everything I'm paying for. I want it stopped. Melissa was good at her job. She didn't ask why. But I saw it in her face, that flicker of recognition. She'd seen this before. Men in squeaky chairs with lists and that look. We went through it line by line, joint checking, credit cards, mine with Carla as authorized user. I kept one card my own that she'd never touched. Everything else canceled. The cell phone plan isn't through us, she said. But I can help you with the contact information. Appreciate it. And the apartment lease? I want to give notice. Terminate it, legal and proper. 30 days. She typed, clicked, typed some more. Mr. Bryant, this is a significant change. Are you certain? I thought about Carla's face when she said real father. I thought about Marcus and Shanice loading up for a trip I'd planned and paid for with a man who'd barely been a phone call for most of their lives. I'm certain. All right. I'll need signatures here and here, initial here. My handwriting looked different than it used to. Smaller, maybe. Or maybe I'd just been signing things I didn't believe in for too long. When it was done, Melissa walked me to the door, shook my hand. Take care of yourself, Mr. Bryant. That's the plan. Outside, the sun was trying. Thin light through clouds that couldn't decide if they were done snowing. The parking lot was half empty. I sat in my truck, title in my name, nobody else's, and looked at the folder. Every canceled autopay had a confirmation number. Every closed account had paperwork. Every signature meant something I was done carrying. I wasn't angry. That surprised me. I kept waiting for it, that hot, sharp feeling. What I felt was tired. Tired of being the name on the bills, but not the name in the family stories. Tired of being the emergency contact, but never the emergency. Tired of paying for trips I wasn't invited on. I started the truck. It turned over smooth because I'd replaced the battery 3 weeks ago. Done the oil change too. I took care of things, that's what I did. But nobody had ever asked if I needed taking care of. That night, I went through the apartment, walked through every room like I was taking inventory. The living room with the new carpet I'd paid to install. The bathroom where I'd fixed the toilet that kept running. The bedroom with the mattress I'd bought because Carla said her back hurt. Family photos on the wall. Thanksgiving, 2 years ago. Christmas last year. Marcus's birthday. There was one from way back, Carla and the kids with Calvin, before he disappeared the first time. Young faces, all of them. Calvin in a leather jacket, arm around Carla, looking at the camera like he owned the world. Recent photos didn't have me in them. I'd been the one taking them, mostly. Behind the camera, not in the frame. I pulled out my suitcase from the closet. Started with clothes. Then, the few things that were actually mine. Old books, the watch my father gave me, tools I'd brought from my first apartment. It didn't add up to much. 8 years, and I could fit my life in 2 suitcases and a duffel bag. The truck was already half loaded when my phone rang. Terry, my cousin. Leon, you still thinking about that job? Yeah, why? Plant manager asked about you again. Said they could use someone who shows up and doesn't complain. That's you, right? That's me. When can you start? I looked around the apartment. Carla's magazines on the coffee table, her coffee cup in the sink, her life, filling every corner while mine fit in luggage. Monday work? Monday's perfect. I'll tell him. You need a place to stay? Just for a bit. Till I find something. Spare room's yours. Beth won't mind. Thanks, Terry. Family takes care of family, Leon. Real family. I hung up, stood there in the living room that I'd painted and furnished and lived in, but never owned. The trip was in 3 days. They'd leave Friday morning, come back the following Wednesday. I'd be gone before they got back. I didn't leave a note. Didn't see the point. Carla had said everything that needed saying when she told me about Calvin coming instead. The rest was just details. I put the apartment keys on the kitchen counter, right next to the coffee maker I'd bought. Under the cabinet I'd rehung when it pulled loose from the wall. The keyring had a little tag Shanice had given me 2 Christmases ago. World's best stepdad. Got it from the clearance bin at Walmart, probably. Funny thing was I'd never been their stepdad. Stepdad means marriage, means legal standing, means something. I'd just been Leon, the guy who paid for things. I locked the door behind me and slid the keys through the mail slot. Heard them hit the floor inside. Final sound. The truck started on the first try. Always did. I took care of it. April evening, temperature dropping, streetlights coming on. I drove past the bank, past the grocery store where we'd shopped, past the mechanic, where I'd gotten her Camry inspected last month on my dime. Drove toward Riverside and didn't look back. Riverside, Ohio, sits about 40 minutes southeast of Cleveland if you don't hit traffic. Small town, plastics plant on the east side, not much else except people who work and go home and don't ask questions. Terry's place was a ranch house with vinyl siding and a garage that actually fit a car. His wife Beth met me at the door. Leon, good to see you. Terry said you'd be staying a bit. Appreciate it. Won't be long. Stay as long as you need. You hungry? I realized I hadn't eaten since morning. Yes, ma'am. Dinner was pot roast and potatoes and conversation about the plant, the neighborhood, everything except why I was there. Beth was good people. She could read a room. After, Terry and I sat in the garage. He handed me a beer. You want to talk about it? Not much to talk about. 8 years with Carla. Turns out I was more useful than wanted. She kick you out? Worse. Replace me on a trip I paid for. With her ex, the kid's real father. I said it flat, the way you report the weather. Terry shook his head. That's cold. It's clear, at least. I know where I stand now. What did you do? Cut the money off. All of it. Closed accounts, canceled cards, terminated the lease. They're on the trip right now. Won't know till they try to use something. They know you're gone. They will. And he was quiet for a minute. Then, that's some stone-cold strategy, Leon. Didn't plan it to hurt them. Planned it to stop bleeding. Fair enough. Plant manager wants to meet you tomorrow. You good with that? I'm good. We drank our beers, watched the street get dark. Somewhere in Pennsylvania or Maryland or wherever they were by now, Carla and the kids were probably settling into a hotel I'd reserved, using cards that would work one more time before the system caught up. I didn't feel good about it. Didn't feel bad either, just done. Thursday morning, I met Frank Hostetler, plant manager at Riverside Plastics. 60-something, crew cut gone gray, handshake that meant business. Terry says you're reliable. I show up, I work, I don't make excuses. That's about all I need. You done factory work? Machine operation, some supervisory, warehouse logistics. We run 3 shifts. You want days or nights? Whatever you need. He nodded, liked that answer. Days then, weekends off. Start Monday, 40-hour week to start, overtime available if you want it. Sounds good. The pay's not fancy, but it's steady. Benefits kick in after 90 days. We shook on it. On the way out, I stopped at the HR office, filled out tax forms, direct deposit, emergency contact, left it blank. Didn't have one anymore. My phone had been buzzing since mid-morning. I'd turned the sound off, but I could feel it vibrating in my pocket. Didn't look. Knew what it was. By Thursday afternoon, I had 17 voicemails, watched the number climb, didn't listen to a single one. Friday morning, the day they were supposed to leave, before they'd left early, I was at the DMV getting my address changed. Then the post office for mail forwarding, then the cell phone store. I need to cancel 3 lines. Keep one. The kid behind the counter, couldn't have been 25, typed into his computer. Which lines? I gave him the numbers. Carla's, Marcus's, Shanice's. Okay, so you're keeping the primary line and removing the additional users? That's right. There's a cancellation fee per line unless... I'll pay it. He processed it, handed me the receipt. Your new bill will be about 70% lower. Good. Walking out, my phone rang. Carla. I let it go to voicemail. Voicemail number 18. Terry's spare room was small, but clean. Bed, dresser window that looked out at the neighbor's fence. I unpacked my 2 suitcases, hung up my work clothes, put away my personals, took maybe 20 minutes. Everything I owned fit in one room with space left over. I sat on the bed and finally looked at my phone. 18 voicemails, 43 texts. The first text was from Marcus yesterday around noon. Hey, Wi-Fi not working at the hotel? Second text, 2 hours later, card got declined for lunch. Can you check if there's a hold? Third, from Shanice, Dad's phone not working either. Did you cancel the plan? Fourth, Carla. Leon, call me. Fifth, Carla again. Leon, this isn't funny. Call me right now. I scrolled through them. Watched the tone shift from annoyed to confused to angry to worried to desperate. Last text was from Carla, sent an hour ago. Please, Leon, we need to talk. Where are you? I turned the phone off, plugged it into charge, lay back on the bed and stared at the ceiling. Somewhere on the East Coast, they were figuring it out. Cards declining, phones dead. Hotel reservation, under a name that wasn't there to authorize charges. Rental car insurance probably void without me on the policy. And Calvin, probably long gone by now. That's what Calvin did. Showed up, made promises, disappeared when things got complicated. Real father. I closed my eyes. Tomorrow was Saturday. I'd find an apartment, something small, cheap, mine. Start fresh. Monday, I'd start work. Build something that didn't require me to be useful to be valued. For the first time in 8 years, I slept through the night. Saturday morning, I woke up to Terry knocking on the door frame. Leon, someone's here for you. I checked my phone. 9:17. Powered it on. 62 text messages, 24 voicemails. Ignored all of them. Who? Lady and 2 younger folks. Looked pretty upset. I got dressed, took my time. When I came out to the living room, Carla was standing there with Marcus and Shanice. They looked like they'd been driving all night. Probably had. Leon, Carla's voice was tight. We need to talk. Nothing to talk about. Nothing to... She stopped, looked at Terry and Beth, sitting at the kitchen table, pretending to read the paper. Can we do this outside? I walked past her, out to the driveway. They followed. Marcus's car, Pennsylvania plates still on it. They'd driven straight through. You canceled everything, Carla said. The cards, the phones, the apartment. The apartment lease was in my name. I gave 30 days notice. It's legal. Legal? You left us stranded. You left me uninvited. Shanice stepped forward. This is insane. Over a trip? I looked at her, really looked. 25 years old, college graduate, job at a medical office, adult. Not about a trip, I said. About being told I'm not family, about finding out where I actually stand. So you just punish us, Marcus now. Cut us off like we're nothing. I cut off what I was paying for. That's not punishment, that's just stopping. Carla's eyes were red. Couldn't tell if she'd been crying or if it was just exhaustion. You could have talked to us. You talked to me. Remember, told me Calvin was coming instead. Told me about real fathers. I listened. Then I responded. This is cruel, Leon. Cruel is being replaced on a trip I paid for without anyone asking how I felt about it. Cruel is 8 years of being useful while never being necessary. I kept my voice level, didn't raise it, didn't need to. I'm done being an ATM with a pulse. We never treated you like, yeah, you did. I pulled the folded papers from my back pocket. Bank statements, account closures, lease termination, receipt copies, 8 years, every bill, every subscription, every emergency car repair, every, can you just cover this until I get paid? All here, all me. You want to see? I held them out. She didn't take them. So what, you just leave? Start over? Shanice's voice cracked. That's exactly what I do. What about us? Marcus said. You're 27. Shanice is 25. You'll figure it out. Adults do. Carla stepped closer. Leon, please, can we talk about this like adults? Maybe grab coffee, sit down, work something out? No. No? You made a choice. I respected it. Made my own choice. I'm respecting that too. This is insane, she said again. You're throwing away 8 years over. I'm not throwing anything away. You handed it back when you uninvited me from family. I looked at all three of them. Trip, go okay, by the way. Calvin, stick around. The silence told me everything. That's what I thought. I said. This isn't over, Carla said. You can't just abandon us. There are ways to make me what? Pay for adults I never legally adopted? Support a woman I never married? Cover an apartment I legally terminated? I shook my head. Get a lawyer if you want. You won't like what do they tell you. I turned back toward the house. Leon, Carla's voice, quieter now. Don't do this. I stopped. Didn't turn around. You already did it. I'm just accepting the terms. I went inside, closed the door, watched through this window as they stood there in the driveway, talking among themselves. Carla gesturing, Marcus shaking his head, Shanice crying. After maybe 10 minutes, they got in the car and left. Beth brought me coffee. Didn't say anything, just set it down and went back to the kitchen. My phone started ringing. Carla. I declined the call. She tried again, declined again. Then a text. We're getting a lawyer. I texted back, okay. That was the last message I sent. Sunday, I found an apartment. Efficiency above a hardware store on Main Street. $400 a month. Utilities included. Month-to-month lease. Landlord was a guy named Ed, maybe 70, who'd owned the hardware store for 40 years. Quiet tenant? Very. No drama? None from me. When can you move in? Today, he laughed. Then saw I was serious. All right then, first and last month, refundable deposit. You got it? I had it. 8 years of not spending money on myself added up. By Sunday evening, I was moved in. Didn't take long. 2 suitcases, duffel bag, box of kitchen stuff I'd bought at the dollar store. Bed came with the place. Table and 2 chairs I got from Goodwill. Standing in that empty apartment, I felt lighter than I had in years. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered without thinking. Mr. Leon Bryant? Speaking. This is Jennifer Holcomb, attorney for Carla Simmons. I'm calling to discuss a potential support and housing claim. She was never my wife. Her kids are adults. The apartment lease was in my name. I gave legal notice. There's no claim. Silence on the other end. Papers shuffling. Mr. Bryant, while you may technically be correct, there are questions of moral obligation, implied support, and, ma'am, with respect, if there's actual legal action, have the papers served to me here. I gave her the Riverside address. Otherwise, we're done. Bryant, I really think if we could just... I hung up, blocked the number, sat down at my new table, in my new apartment, in my new town, and felt something I hadn't felt in 8 years. Peace. Monday morning, I clocked in at Riverside Plastics at 6 a.m. sharp. Frank showed me the floor, introduced me to the shift lead, walked me through the safety protocols. By 7, I was running an injection molding machine, watching plastic pellets turn into automotive parts. The work was simple, repetitive, honest. Load the hopper, monitor the temperature, check the mold cycle, inspect the parts. No drama. No hidden expectations, just plastic and heat and time. Lunch break. I sat in the break room with my sandwich and coffee. Nobody bothered me. Nobody asked where I came from or why. Factory workers respect silence. My phone sat in my locker, powered off. I'd check it after shift. Terry caught me in the parking lot after work. How was day 1? Good, real good. Frank said you picked it up quick. Not complicated work. Complicated enough if you don't pay attention. He leaned against his truck. You know they're still calling, right? Who? Your phone. I can hear it vibrating from the kitchen. Beth's about ready to throw it in the yard. I'll handle it. Leon. He waited till I looked at him. I'm not saying you're wrong. What they did was messed up. But at some point you're going to have to deal with it. I am dealing with it. By not dealing with it. He snorted. That's one way. Back at the apartment, I finally checked my phone. 71 voicemails. I deleted them all without listening. 100-something texts. Scrolled through just to see. Carla, mostly. Angry, then apologetic, then angry again, then desperate. You can't just disappear. We need to talk about this, like adults. The kids are scared. Leon. At least tell me. Where you are? I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. Can we please just talk, Marcus? This is fucked up, man. Whatever she's done, you don't punish us, Shanice. I thought you cared about us. Guess money was all that mattered to you. That one stung. But not enough to change anything. One text from a number I didn't recognize. Mr. Bryant, this is Attorney Holcomb. Please contact our office to discuss settlement options before we proceed with filing. I deleted everything. Turned the phone off again. Tuesday, the lawyer called the plastics plant. Frank came and got me from the floor. You got legal trouble? Ex-girlfriend wants money. I don't owe her any. You sure about that? Positive. He studied me. All right. Tell him not to call here again. This is a workplace? Yes, sir. I used the office phone to call back. Same attorney. But so, Bryant, thank you for returning my... Don't call my workplace. You have my personal number. Well, your personal number goes straight to voicemail. Because I'm not interested in talking. You want to file something? File it. Otherwise, leave me alone. Mr. Bryant, my client is willing to forgo legal action. If you're willing to discuss a reasonable support arrangement, your client and I were never married. Her children are 27 and 25. I have no legal obligation. You know this, or you're a bad lawyer. Silence. File if you want, I said. I'll be at the hearing. I hung up, went back to the floor. Frank was waiting. Handled? Handled. And he nodded. You're a good worker, Leon. Don't let personal mess wreck that. Won't. Wednesday afternoon, my day off, I was at the laundromat when I saw Marcus walk in. He spotted me immediately. Came over while I was loading the washer. Been looking for you. Found me. This place? This is where you're living now? Yep. He looked around. Small town laundromat, fluorescent lights, elderly woman folding towels in the corner, kid playing on a phone. It's a step down, Leon. It's mine. Come on, man. Can we talk? Really talk? I fed quarters into the machine. Started the cycle. You want coffee? There's a diner across the street. We walked over in silence. Sat in a booth by the window. Waitress brought coffee without asking. Small town like that, you sit down, you get coffee. Mom's a mess, Marcus said. Sorry to hear that. Are you? I added sugar to my coffee. Stirred it. What do you want me to say, Marcus? I want you to explain why you blew up our lives. I didn't blow up anything. I stopped paying for them. Same thing. Not even close. I looked at him. You're 27? Got a job? You know I do. Apartment? I'm staying with Shanice right now. Why? He didn't answer. Because your mom can't afford the place she was in without me covering it, right? It's more complicated than... It's not. For 8 years, I paid for a life I wasn't really part of. You needed money? I gave it. Car repair? I covered it. Trip of a lifetime? I funded it. Then when it came time to actually go, your mom replaced me with a man who's been gone more than he's been around. And you all went along with it. We didn't think... That's right, you didn't think. Didn't think about how it'd feel to be told I'm not the real family. Didn't think I might have feelings about being uninvited from something I paid for. Didn't think at all. Marcus looked into his coffee. Calvin left the second day. I know. How? Because that's what Calvin does. Always has. Mom thought it'd be different this time. It never is. The waitress refilled our cups. Marcus waited till she left. She wants to work things out. Nothing to work out. You really won't even try? Marcus, answer me this. When was the last time your mom asked what I wanted, what I needed? When did anyone ask if I was happy? He opened his mouth, closed it. That's what I thought, I said. I was useful, that's all. And when something more useful came along, even temporarily, I got replaced. Now that it fell apart, suddenly I'm needed again. That's not love. That's not family. That's convenience. So you're just done? 8 years? Just gone? 8 years I gave. Time, money, effort. Fixed your mom's car, how many times? Helped you move. Co-signed for Shanice's student loan. Don't think I forgot that. I showed up. Every time. I drank my coffee. When did any of you show up for me? He didn't have an answer. You seem like a good kid, Marcus. You'll be fine. So will Shanice. Your mom will figure it out. But I'm not coming back to be the wallet that pays for people who don't actually want me around. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. I stood up, left a 5 on the table for both coffees. Take care of yourself, Marcus. I walked out. He didn't follow. Thursday, the court papers came, delivered to the plastics plant by a process server during lunch break. Everyone saw. Word spread quick in a factory. Frank called me to the office. This going to be a problem? I read through the filing. Emergency motion for support and housing. Carla Simmons, petitioner. Leon Bryant, respondent. No, sir. I'll handle it. Well, when's the hearing? Week from Monday. I can take personal time if... Take it. But, Leon, this kind of thing gets messy. You need a lawyer? Can't afford one. Representing yourself against a lawyer's a bad idea. Maybe, but everything's documented. Lease, bank records, all of it. Truth doesn't need much representation. He looked doubtful, but nodded. Your call. Don't let it affect your work. It won't. That weekend I prepared, went through every document in my folder, organized them chronologically, bank statements showing 8 years of deposits, mine, and withdrawals, mostly hers, credit card bills with my name, her charges, lease agreements, always my name only, the trip confirmations, my credit card. Sunday night, I made an outline, simple, factual, no emotion, just timeline and evidence. I wasn't nervous, should have been, maybe. But I'd learned something in the past 2 weeks. The truth doesn't get tired. It doesn't change based on who's crying or who's angry. It just sits there, solid, waiting. Monday morning before my shift, I got a text from Shanice. You know, Mom can't afford a lawyer, right? She's using a legal aid attorney. Meanwhile, you're making her homeless. Hope you're proud. I stared at it for a long time. Then typed back, I made your mom homeless the same way I made myself family. I didn't. She had 8 years to put her name on a lease. 8 years to get a job that paid enough to support herself. 8 years to treat me like I mattered. She chose different. Actions have consequences. I hit send. Blocked her number. My phone rang immediately. Carla. I let it ring out. She called 6 more times that day. I didn't answer any of them. The hearing was scheduled for 9 a.m. in Madison County Courthouse. I got there at 8:30, folder under my arm, wearing the same shirt and tie I'd worn to job interviews, back when I thought I was building a life with Carla. The courthouse was old brick, wide steps, security checkpoint at the entrance. I went through, found the courtroom number, sat on a bench outside. Carla showed up at 8:50 with a woman in a tired pantsuit carrying an overstuffed briefcase. The lawyer had to be Attorney Holcomb. They saw me, walked over. Mr. Bryant. Holcomb extended her hand. I shook it. I'm hoping we can reach an agreement before we go in front of Judge Harrison. Well, nothing to agree on. Mr. Bryant, my client is facing homelessness. Her children are struggling. A small amount of temporary support while her children are adults with jobs. She's an adult with the same opportunities I had to pay her own bills. I don't owe anyone anything. Carla stepped forward. She looked thinner, older. Leon, please. I didn't say anything. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry about the trip. I'm sorry about Calvin. I'm sorry I hurt you. But this, leaving me with nothing, I left you with exactly what you gave me. That's not fair. It's perfectly fair. The bailiff opened the courtroom door. Simmons versus Bryant. Judge is ready. We filed in. Small courtroom, wood paneling, Ohio State flag in the corner. Judge Harrison was maybe 60, reading glasses perched on her nose, looking through papers. Miss Holcomb, you're representing the petitioner. Yes, Your Honor. And Mr. Bryant, you're representing yourself? Yes, ma'am. She looked at me over her glasses. You understand you have the right to legal counsel? I do. I'm choosing to represent myself. All right then. Ms. Holcomb, this is your motion. Present your case. Holcomb stood. Your Honor, my client, Carla Simmons, and respondent Leon Bryant were in a committed relationship for 8 years, during which time Mr. Bryant provided housing and financial support. 3 weeks ago, Mr. Bryant abruptly terminated this support without warning, leaving Ms. Simmons and her 2 children homeless and without resources. We're asking the court to order temporary support and housing assistance while Ms. Simmons establishes independent living arrangements. Judge Harrison looked at me. Mr. Bryant, your response? I stood, opened my folder. Your Honor, Ms. Simmons and I were never married. Ohio doesn't recognize common law marriage for relationships that began after 1991. Ours began in 2015. Her children, Marcus and Shanice, are 27 and 25 years old respectively. Both are employed adults. I have no legal obligation to support them or their mother, Ms. Holcomb. Your Honor, while there may not be a strict legal obligation, there's clearly a moral one. Mr. Bryant acted as a father figure to these children. I was never their stepfather, I said. Stepfather requires marriage. I was their mother's boyfriend. They were already adults when I entered the picture. Marcus was 19, Shanice was 17. Judge Harrison made a note. Continue, Mr. Bryant. The apartment lease was solely in my name. I gave proper 30-day notice to the landlord. Here's the documentation. I handed copies to the bailiff, who gave them to the judge. Bank records, showing I was the only contributor to the joint checking account. Credit card statements showing Ms. Simmons as an authorized user, not a co-holder. I closed my own accounts that I opened and funded. Your Honor, he did this out of spite, Holcomb said. After a disagreement about a family vacation? Not a disagreement, I said. A decision. Ms. Simmons decided to uninvite me from a trip I'd planned and paid for, replacing me with her ex-partner, the biological father of her children. She told me they wanted their real father there instead. Judge Harrison looked it up. Is that accurate, Ms. Simmons? Carla stood. Your Honor, it wasn't meant the way he's making it sound. Did you or did you not tell him that? Yes, but... And was the trip paid for by Mr. Bryant? Holcomb shuffled papers. Your Honor, who paid for a vacation isn't... Answer the question, Ms. Holcomb. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Bryant purchased the travel arrangements. And Ms. Simmons uninvited him? Silence. Judge Harrison removed her glasses. Bryant, why did you terminate the lease? Because I realized I was paying for a life I wasn't part of. Your Honor, for 8 years I provided financial support while being treated as... I stopped, kept my voice level. While being treated as useful but not necessary. When Ms. Simmons made it clear I wasn't family, I accepted that assessment and acted accordingly. And by leaving her homeless, by terminating a lease that was in my name only, by closing bank accounts I opened and funded, by stopping payment on expenses I alone was responsible for, and I pulled out more documents. Here's 8 years of deposits and withdrawals. Bank statements don't lie. I had deposited. She withdrew. I paid rent. She paid nothing. I covered utilities, insurance, phone bills, everything. The judge reviewed the documents. The courtroom was quiet except for the clock ticking and papers rustling. Ms. Holcomb, does your client have employment? She's currently between positions, Your Honor, but yes or no? No, Your Honor. Has she been employed during the relationship with Mr. Bryant? Holcomb glanced at Carla, sporadically. Bryant, do you have current employment? Yes, ma'am. Riverside Plastics, started 2 weeks ago. Stable income? Yes, ma'am. Judge Harrison sat back. Ms. Simmons, stand up, please. Carla stood. You're 55 years old. Your children are 27 and 25. Both employed? Yes, Your Honor. You were in a relationship with Mr. Bryant for 8 years, during which he provided housing and support. Did you contribute financially? When I could. Did you contribute financially, yes or no? Not as much as he did. Did you have your name added to the lease at any point? No. Why not? Carla looked at her lawyer. Holcomb stood. Your Honor, my client didn't think it was necessary given the length and stability of the relationship. The relationship wasn't stable, I said. Or she wouldn't have replaced me on that trip. Judge Harrison held up her hand. Mr. Bryant, you'll have your turn. Ms. Simmons, did Mr. Bryant ever prevent you from working or contributing financially? No, Your Honor. Did he prevent you from adding your name to the lease? No. Did he promise marriage or long-term support? Carla hesitated. No. The judge looked at her notes, then at me. Mr. Bryant, this court understands that relationships end. They often end badly. But leaving someone without resources after 8 years seems harsh? Your Honor, I didn't leave her without resources. I left her with the same resources she brought into the relationship. She has 2 adult children with jobs. She has her own abilities and opportunities. What she doesn't have is my continued financial support, which was never a legal obligation and became an impossibility the moment she told me I wasn't real family. And you couldn't have handled this with more grace? I thought about that, about grace, about all the times I'd been graceful while being diminished. Your Honor, I gave 8 years of grace. I gave time, money, effort, patience. I fixed her car, paid her bills, helped her kids, showed up every single time. The one time I needed grace, the one time I needed to be considered, to be valued, to be included, I got replaced. I don't owe more grace to people who gave me none. The courtroom was silent. Judge Harrison put her glasses back on. Ms. Holcomb, unless you have evidence of legal marriage, common law marriage, adoption proceedings, or any other legal obligation, I'm going to deny this motion. Your Honor, please. Mr. Bryant terminated a lease he alone held. He closed bank accounts in his name. He ceased paying for expenses he had no legal obligation to pay. I understand this creates hardship for your client, but hardship doesn't create legal obligation. She looked at Carla. Ms. Simmons, I strongly encourage you to seek employment and housing assistance through appropriate social services. Your children are adults. They can help. Your Honor, motion denied. We're adjourned. The gavel came down. Holcomb gathered her papers, whispered something to Carla. They left through the side door. I stayed seated for a minute, felt the weight of it settle. Not victory, just confirmation. I'd been right about the law, about the facts, about where I stood. Outside on the courthouse steps, Marcus was waiting. He'd been in the courtroom. I'd seen him in the back row. You satisfied now? I'm resolved. That's cold, man. Maybe, but it's honest. He shook his head, walked away. I stood there in the April sun, folder under my arm, and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Free. The story should have ended there. Court ruled, case closed, everyone moves on. But Carla called that night. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Maybe curiosity, maybe the small part of me that still remembered 8 years. Leon. Carla. I need to understand. How did it come to this? You told me I wasn't real family. I believed you. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? Silence on the other end. Traffic sounds. She was outside somewhere. Calvin's their father. They wanted him there. I thought you'd understand. I understood perfectly. That's why I left. But to cut us off completely, I cut off money I was spending on people who didn't want me around. That's not punishment, Carla. That's just reality. We did want you around. Just not on the trip you asked me to fund. More silence. Where are you staying? I asked. With Shanice, in her one bedroom. I'm on the couch. Marcus? Same. We're all squeezed in there. You'll figure it out. That's it? That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say? I want you to say you'll help, that you still care, that 8 years meant something. It did mean something. It meant I was useful. Past tense. Leon. I've got to go, Carla. Take care of yourself. I hung up. She called back immediately. I didn't answer. 2 days later, Holcomb called again. Bryant, my client is willing to drop all legal action. If you're willing to provide 3 months of transitional support, no. Just 3 months, $2,000 a month, $6,000 total. That would give her time to find employment and no. Bryant, be reasonable. I am being reasonable. Your client had 8 years to become self-sufficient. She chose not to. Her children are adults who can support her. I'm not a charity, and I'm not obligated. She's willing to sign an agreement stating this would be the final. Counselor, let me be clear. I will not give Carla Simmons $1. Not now, not ever. If you file another motion, I'll be at that hearing too, with the same documents and the same result. And you're really going to let her suffer? I'm going to let her experience the natural consequences of her choices, same as I'm experiencing the consequences of mine. This is vindictive. This is self-preservation. There's a difference. I hung up. That was the last I heard from Holcomb. Work became my anchor. Clock in at 6, clock out at 2:30. Steady rhythm of machines, plastic smell, heat from the molds. Nobody asked about my personal life. Nobody cared. Frank promoted me to lead operator after 3 weeks. 50-cent raise. Responsibility for training new guys. I took it. You're good at this, Frank said. Don't get rattled. Not much rattles me anymore. Yeah, I noticed. He handed me the new vest, different color for leads. Terry says you're looking at houses. Thinking about it. Good. Put down roots. Riverside's a decent place if you let it be. I was looking. Small houses, nothing fancy. 2-bedroom garage yard. Places I could afford on my salary, without stretching. Places that were mine. Found one on Oakwood Street, ranch style, built in the 70s, needed some work, but solid bones. The furnace was newer. Roof had a few years left. Asking $89,000. I put in an offer at $82. They countered at $85. I accepted. Closed in May. Moved in with the same 2 suitcases and duffel bag, plus the Goodwill furniture. Bought a lawnmower from a garage sale. Spent weekends fixing the porch steps, painting the bedroom, replacing outlets that sparked. It felt good. Working on something that was actually mine, something nobody could uninvite me from. Terry stopped by one Saturday while I was pulling weeds. Place is looking good. Getting there. Heard from them at all? No. You? Beth ran into Marcus at the grocery store. Said Carla, got a job at the call center, night shift. Good for her. He asked about you. What did Beth say? Said you were doing fine. Didn't elaborate. I pulled another weed, tossed it in the bucket. I am doing fine. Yeah, you are. Terry sat on the porch step. Can I ask you something? Go ahead. You regret it? Any of it? I thought about that. Wiped sweat from my forehead. May sun was warm, not brutal yet, but working toward it. I regret staying as long as I did. Regret not seeing it sooner, but leaving? No. Best thing I ever did. No, even though it was hard? Especially because it was hard. Easy things don't change you. He nodded. Sat quiet for a minute. Beth wants to have you over for dinner Sunday. You interested? Yeah, I'd like that. Good. 6 o'clock. Bring whatever you're drinking. After he left, I finished the weeds, mowed the lawn, trimmed the hedges, basic maintenance. The kind of work that shows respect for a place. Inside, I took a shower, made a sandwich, sat at my kitchen table in my house and looked around. Small place, quiet, mine. I bought a radio at Goodwill, turned it on, classic country station. Guy singing about lost love and moving on. Story as old as time. I turned it off. Didn't need someone else's sadness. I had my own peace to tend to. Summer came to Riverside the way it always does in Ohio. Sudden and heavy, like someone flipped a switch from spring to August overnight. The plastics plant didn't have air conditioning on the floor, just fans that pushed hot air around. You learned to drink water and pace yourself. I'd been there 4 months. Had a rhythm now. Work, home, maintenance on the house, sleep. Weekends I'd drive to hardware stores, buy supplies for whatever project I decided on, replace the kitchen faucet, fix the back door that stuck, repainted the bathroom. The house was becoming something. Not fancy, but solid, cared for. My phone stayed mostly silent. I'd unblocked the important numbers. Work, Terry, the bank. Everything else stayed blocked. No social media. No checking to see what Carla or the kids were doing. I didn't need to know. Late June, I was leaving the hardware store when I saw her, Carla, coming out of the Dollar General across the parking lot, plastic bags in each hand. She looked different. Hair shorter, grayer, tired, in a way that went deeper than a bad night's sleep. She saw me at the same moment, stopped. We stood there, maybe 30 feet apart, parking lot shimmering with heat between us. She walked over, slowly, like approaching something that might bolt. Leon. Carla. Up close, she looked older. Fine lines I didn't remember around her eyes. Thinner, but not in a healthy way. How are you? She asked. Good. You? Getting by. Got a job at the call center. Night shift, but it's something. Good. Silence. A car pulled past, country music bleeding through the windows. You look good, she said. Healthy. Working does that. I heard you bought a house. Small town. People talk. Yeah, over on Oakwood. That's good. I'm glad you're doing well. I waited. She didn't leave. Kids okay? I asked, though I didn't really want to know. They're managing. Marcus got a promotion. Shanice is engaged. Good for her. Leon, She shifted the bags. I wanted to say I'm sorry, really sorry, about everything. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say? I don't know. Something. Anything. Her voice cracked. We were together for 8 years. That has to mean something. It did. Past tense. And so you just turned it off? All of it. I looked at her, really looked. Saw the woman I'd spent 8 years with. The woman who'd laughed at my jokes, slept beside me, made coffee the way I liked it sometimes. The woman who'd also replaced me without a second thought when something shinier came along. No, I said. I didn't turn it off. I accepted what it was. You showed me who I was to you. I believed you. And you were important to me. I was useful to you. Different things. That's not fair. It's accurate. And she set the bags down. Can we get coffee? Just talk. I'm not asking for money or anything. Just talk. No. Leon, please. Carla, there's nothing to talk about. You made your choice, I made mine. We're both living with them. That's how it works. I made a mistake. You made a decision. Mistakes are accidents. You decided to replace me, decided to call Calvin the real father, decided I wasn't worth including. Those weren't mistakes. They were choices. Tears now, running down her face. I was wrong. I know I was wrong. I've lost everything. You haven't lost everything. You've lost free rent and free bills and a free wallet. You still have your kids. You still have your life. You just have to pay for it yourself now. That's cruel. That's reality. She wiped her face with the back of her hand. Do you hate me? I thought about that. Picked up my hardware store bag. No, I don't hate you. I don't feel much of anything for you anymore. And that's the truest thing I can say. I walked to my truck. She didn't follow. Driving home, I felt something release. A tension I didn't know I'd been carrying. Seeing her, talking to her, it confirmed what I'd already known. I'd made the right choice. July brought thunderstorms. Big ones that rolled through in the afternoons, shook the house, left everything smelling like ozone and wet earth. I'd sit on my porch and watch them come. Something peaceful about it. Nature doing what it does, indifferent to human drama. Terry came by one evening after a storm, beer in hand. Saw you talking to Carla at the hardware store last month. Yeah. How'd that go? She apologized. I accepted. We moved on. You feel any different? No, should I? He shrugged. Some guys, they carry it. The anger, the hurt, eats at them. Nothing to carry. She showed me who she was. I listened. That's it. You're a strange one, Leon. Maybe. We drank our beers, watched the sky clear, stars coming out. Beth wants to set you up, Terry said. With who? Her friend from church, widow, couple years younger than you. Nice lady. I'm good. You can't be alone forever. I'm not alone. I'm just not with anyone. Different things. He laughed. You're going to use that line till you die, aren't you? Probably. August. I got another raise. Frank called me into the office. We're making you shift supervisor. $1.50 raise, benefits upgrade, responsibilities increase. You interested? Yes, sir. Good. You've earned it. Most reliable guy I've got. Reliable. Funny how that word used to sting. Now it felt like a compliment. September came cool and clear. Fall in Ohio is the best season, all color and crisp air and reasonable temperatures. I bought a jacket at Goodwill, started running in the mornings before work. Not for fitness, really. Just to move, to be in my body in a way that felt good. One morning I ran past the elementary school, saw kids lining up for the buses, parents standing around with coffee, talking. Normal life. Community. I kept running. October. Marcus showed up at my house. I was raking leaves when his car pulled up. He got out, stood by the street. Nice place. Thanks. Can we talk? I leaned the rake against the tree. Go ahead. He came closer. Looked older, too. Harder around the edges. Shanice is getting married in November. She wanted me to invite you. Tell her congratulations. Will you come? No. Leon, I'm not family, Marcus. Your mom made that clear. Shanice agreed. You all did. So no, I won't come to her wedding. She regrets what she said. Good. Regret's useful. Teaches us not to make the same mistakes twice. You're really going to hold a grudge forever? I'm not holding a grudge. I'm respecting boundaries. She didn't want me as family. I'm honoring that. He kicked at the ground. Mom's struggling. The call center doesn't pay much. She's working. That's good. She could use help. She has 2 adult children with jobs. That's help. We're not you. We don't make. Then she'll have to adjust her expectations to match her reality. Jesus, you're cold. I'm clear. There's a difference. He got back in his car, slammed the door, drove off without another word. I went back to raking leaves. November came with early snow. Just a dusting, but enough to remind you winter was coming. I bought a snowblower from a neighbor who was moving south. Serviced it, tested it, stored it in the garage. Thanksgiving I spent at Terry and Beth's. Small gathering. Just us and their daughter's family. Turkey, mashed potatoes, pie, normal and quiet and good. You ever think about going back? Beth asked while we were washing dishes. To what? Cleveland. Carla. That life. No. Not even a little. Not even a little. She handed me a plate to dry. Good. You're better off. December brought real cold. Single digits at night, teens during the day. The furnace in my house ran steady. I'd serviced it in October, changed the filter, cleaned the vents. It worked perfect. I sat in my living room on a Saturday afternoon, snow falling outside, furnace humming, and realized something. I was happy, not ecstatic, not celebrating, just content, satisfied, at peace with the life I'd built from the wreckage of the one I'd left. It was enough. Christmas came quiet. I worked the day shift, holiday pay, and I didn't have anywhere else to be. The plant ran skeleton crew, just keeping the machines going. Peaceful in a way. No pressure, no expectations. After shift, I drove home through empty streets. Riverside, on Christmas Day, is ghost town quiet. Everyone inside, with family, eating ham, opening presents. I made a sandwich, watched an old Western on TV, went to bed early. It was fine. New Year's Eve, I was asleep by 9. Woke up January 1st, 2024, same as any other day. Made coffee, read the paper, fixed a drawer in the kitchen that had been sticking. Terry called around noon. Happy New Year. Same to you. Beth and I are doing a thing tonight. Just a few people. You should come. I'm good. Leon. I appreciate it, really, but I'm good where I am, he sighed. All right, but the offer stands. You change your mind. I know where to find you, and I didn't change my mind. Winter settled in hard. January and February were brutal. Snow, ice, wind that cut through everything. I worked, came home, kept the house warm, shoveled the driveway. Basic survival mode. March brought the first thaw. Temperatures climbed into the 40s, snow melted, mud appeared. The eternal Ohio cycle. I was at the grocery store, not the one in Cleveland, a different chain, when I saw Shanice. She was in the produce section looking at apples. Didn't see me at first. I could have left. Should have, maybe, but I didn't. Shanice, she turned. Face went through several expressions: surprise, guilt, defiance, sadness. Leon, heard you got married. Congratulations. Thanks. She set down the apple. You didn't come. Wasn't invited. Not really. But Marcus invited you. Marcus delivered a message. Different thing. She looked at her cart. Wedding ring on her finger, new and shiny. How are you? Good. You? Good. We bought a house. Small place, but it's ours. That's good. Silence. Other shoppers moving around us. Background noise of a grocery store on a Wednesday afternoon. Mom talks about you sometimes, she said. Okay. She misses you. She misses what I provided. Different thing. Shanice's jaw tightened. You know, you act like you're the only one who got hurt. But we lost you too. You replaced me with Calvin on a trip I funded. That was Mom's idea, not... And you went along with it. All of you did, so you didn't lose me. You chose different. Actions have consequences. We were trying to give Calvin a chance. At my expense. Literally. I picked up the basket I'd set down. I hope your marriage works out. I hope you're happy. But we're not family, Shanice. You made that clear. I'm just respecting the boundary you set. I was 25. I made a mistake. You were old enough to vote, to marry, to sign a mortgage. Old enough to know what you were doing. She looked like she wanted to say more. Didn't. I walked away. Finished my shopping. Checked out. Drove home. That was the last time I saw any of them in person. Spring came for real in April. 1 year since the announcement in the garage. 1 year since I'd walked away from 8 years of being useful but not valued. The anniversary didn't feel heavy, just factual. A marker in time. My house had a yard now. Real grass. Flower beds I'd planted with help from YouTube videos. Not fancy but alive. Growing. Work was steady. Frank had me training the new supervisor candidates. You've got a way of explaining things that make sense, he said. Clear and calm. I'd learned that. In the hardest way possible, but I'd learned it. Summer 2024. I'd been in Riverside just over a year. The house was mine, not just legally, but emotionally. Every room had something I'd fixed or improved. The porch didn't squeak. The furnace ran perfect. The kitchen faucet didn't drip. It was exactly what I'd wanted with Carla but never had. A place that was actually mine. Terry and Beth had me over for a 4th of July cookout. Burgers, beer, neighbors. I was starting to know, not friends exactly, but familiar faces. People who waved when I mowed the lawn. Who'd help jump a car in winter. Community. In the quiet way, small towns do it. You seem good, Beth said, handing me a plate. I am good, and different than last year. Last year I was surviving. This year I'm living. She smiled. Good distinction. August. I got a Facebook friend request. Carla. I'd kept my account but never used it. Checked maybe once a month, out of habit. I didn't accept the request, didn't deny it either. Just left it there, pending. A week later, a message came through. Leon, I know you probably won't read this, but I needed to say it anyway. You were right. About everything. I used you. Took you for granted. Treated you like a wallet instead of a person. I'm sorry. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect anything. I just wanted you to know that I see it now. Too late, but I see it. I hope you're happy you deserve to be. Carla. I read it twice. Then closed the app. Didn't respond. Didn't block her. Just let it sit there. Some things don't need a response. The silence says enough. September brought cooler nights. I'd sit on my porch after work, watching the sun go down, listening to crickets. Quiet life. Simple life. Mine. One evening, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Mr. Bryant? Speaking. This is Rachel Morrison from Ohio Legal Aid. I'm calling about a client consultation request we received regarding a Carla Simmons. She listed you as, I have no legal relationship with Ms. Simmons. No marriage, no contract, no obligation. If she needs legal aid, that's between her and your office. I understand, sir. I just needed to verify it. Verified. Anything else? No, sir. Thank you for your time. I hung up. Legal aid. Meaning she was in some kind of trouble. Financial, probably. Maybe debt collection. Maybe eviction. Not my problem. I felt a flicker of something. Not quite sympathy. Not quite satisfaction. Just acknowledgement she was living the life she'd built without me. Same as I was living the life I'd built without her. Fair was fair. October came with color. The trees on my street turned brilliant, red, orange, gold. I raked the leaves into piles, bagged them, set them out for collection. Routine. Maintenance. Care. A year and a half since I'd left. Felt like a lifetime ago. The man who'd sat on that cold garage floor, hurt and confused and diminished, he was gone. Or not gone, exactly. Transformed. Stronger. Clearer. I'd learned something in the fire. You can't build a life on being useful to people who don't value you. You can't fix broken things by breaking yourself. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away. And sometimes the quietest victory is just living well. January 2005, 2 years, almost to the day since the trip that never included me. I was in Cleveland, visiting Terry's mother. She'd had a fall. We were helping her sort out home care. Stopped at the Walmart on the east side for supplies. Wednesday afternoon, place half empty. I was loading paper towels into my cart when I saw her, Carla, in the checkout line, 3 registers over. She looked worn, older than her years, the kind of tired that comes from hard living, not hard work. Her cart had generic brands, ramen, white bread, the staples of a tight budget. I could have left. Should have. Maybe. I had what I needed. But something made me get in line. Not the same register, 3 over, where I could see her but she couldn't see me. I watched her check out, watched her count exact change for the total, watched her struggle with the bags. Too many for one trip, but trying anyway. The cashier called next customer. I moved forward. Outside, I loaded my truck. Saw Carla loading her car, old Camry, different one than I remembered. Used, probably. The driver's door was dented. She saw me as she was closing her trunk. We stood there, parking lot between us. January cold making our breath visible. She walked over, slowly. Leon. Carla. Up close, the years showed more. Fine lines deep now, gray hair she wasn't dyeing anymore. Hands chapped from work. How are you? She asked. Good. You? Getting by. She pulled her thin coat tighter. You visiting? Terry's mom, helping her out. That's good of you. She looked at my truck. Newer model, not fancy, but maintained. You look good, healthy. Work and routine do that. Silence. Cars pulling in and out. Someone's cart rolling loose across the lot. I sent you a message. On Facebook. I saw it. You didn't respond. No. Why not? Didn't need to. You said what you needed to say. I read it. That's enough. She nodded. Looked at the ground. I meant it, what I said. About being sorry. I believe you. Do you forgive me? I thought about that. Looked at this woman I'd spent 8 years with. Loved, in my way. Tried to build something with. I don't hold it against you anymore. That's as close as I get. That's something, I guess. It is. More silence. The kind that used to be comfortable between us, now just empty. Kids okay? I asked. Marcus is doing good. Manager now at the warehouse. Shanice is pregnant, due in March. That's good. Oh, yeah. She smiled, small and sad. I'm going to be a grandma. Didn't think I'd make it here, honestly. You're tougher than you think. Had to be. After... She trailed off. After you left, everything fell apart. Lost the apartment. Couldn't keep up with bills. Had to move in with Shanice. That was hard. On all of us. I didn't say anything. Got the job at the call center. Hated it at first. Still don't love it, but it pays rent. I've got a studio now. Small, but it's mine. First time in my life I've had a place that's just mine. That's good, Carla. Really. Took me 2 years to learn what you knew all along. You can't depend on other people to build your life. You have to do it yourself. Hard lesson. The hardest. She looked at me. Do you ever think about us? About what we had? Sometimes. Do you miss it? I thought about my house in Riverside, my job, my porch, my quiet evenings, the peace I'd built from the wreckage. No, I miss who I thought we were. But that person, that relationship, It wasn't real. It was what I wanted it to be, not what it actually was. It was real for me. Maybe toward the end, when it was gone. But while we had it, I was useful to you. That's all. She didn't argue, just stood there, holding her thin coat closed against the wind. I don't blame you, she said finally. For leaving, for cutting me off. You did what you had to do. I see that now. Good. Does it get easier, being alone? I'm not alone, I'm just not with you. There's a difference. She smiled at that, sad but genuine. You always did have a way of putting things. A gust of wind came through. She shivered. You should get inside, I said. It's cold. Yeah. She didn't move. Leon, can I ask you something? Go ahead. Do you think about me, ever? I looked at her, this woman who'd shaped 8 years of my life, who'd shown me what I was worth to her, who'd taught me, in the hardest way, that love isn't the same as utility. Sometimes, I said, but not the way you probably hope. What way, then? I think about the lessons, what I learned, how to be stronger, how to know my worth, how to walk away when staying would kill something in me. I paused. So yeah, I think about you, as a teacher, not as a loss. Her eyes filled. She nodded. I guess that's fair. It's honest. Same thing, with you. She stepped back, pulled her keys from her pocket. Take care of yourself, Leon. You too, Carla. She walked to her car, got in, sat there for a minute before starting it. I got in my truck, watched her pull out of the parking lot, turn left onto the main road, disappear into Cleveland traffic. That was the last time I saw her. I drove back to Riverside, then in silence. No radio, just the sound of the road and my own thoughts. 2 years. Felt like a lifetime. Felt like yesterday. The life I'd built, it wasn't fancy, wasn't exciting, just steady, honest, mine. I'd learned something in those 2 years that I wished I'd known earlier. You can't build a foundation on being needed. Need is unstable. It shifts based on circumstances, options, convenience. Value, real value, comes from being chosen, not for what you provide, but for who you are. Carla had never chosen me. She'd chosen my wallet, my usefulness, my willingness to fix things. And when something shinier came along, even temporarily, she'd chosen that instead. I didn't hate her for it. Didn't even blame her, really. People make choices based on what they think they need. She'd needed a provider, I'd needed to be valued. We'd both been wrong about what the other one was offering. Now we both knew better. Spring's coming to Riverside. I can feel it in the air, that shift from winter's grip to something softer. I'm on my porch, coffee going cold, watching the sun come up. Saturday morning, nowhere to be. The house behind me is warm, furnace running smooth. I serviced it myself. Everything here works because I made it work. For me. 2 years since that garage conversation. Since Carla told me about real fathers. Feels like a different life. I don't regret the 8 years. They taught me about boundaries, self-respect, the difference between being generous and being used. I don't regret leaving either. People ask if I'm lonely. I tell them the truth. I'm alone. There's a difference. Lonely is wanting something you don't have. Alone is being complete in yourself. I stand up, stretch, Saturday chores waiting. Small life, quiet life, mine, and that's enough.